Have you ever been in a situation where you were venting to one of your friends and, not necessarily wanting advice per se, but just wanting to let things out? Or you just telling them just in general about, like, say, a new guy you met, or, something that happened at work, or just anything. And then they just start giving you a whole bunch of advice that you didn't even ask for. And to make you feel worse about the situation. Let's talk about this. Now, I have two different views on it. Number one, I understand the motive behind it, because you don't want yes men around you. You want somebody that's going to hold you accountable and be able to tell you whatever. However, I feel like it's a way that you need to do it. Not everybody is coming to you for advice. Sometimes I might just really just want to get my thoughts out, or I just want to let you know what's going on, but I don't necessarily need your suggestions on how to move forward from here. If that makes sense. Because I'm the type of person where I have to learn on my own. I have to actually go through the experience, and I got to see things for myself before I decide if I want to move on from a situation, or cut somebody off or anything like that. I have to feel that way, not you. And I feel like it's all in the delivery, because if you tell me something once, I'll take it in. I might not agree with it, I might not want to hear it, but it's whatever. You said it, it's in my head, that's something to think about. But when you continuously harp on a situation and try to convince me to see things your way, that's when I feel like it's a problem. And I feel like friends should be mindful of this. I've been guilty of it before, and I've had it done to me, and it's not a good feeling when you're the one in the hot seat. Because we all do things that we might know we don't need to be in that situation, but we do it anyway. When you're in one of those situations to where you might just want to shake your friend, like, girl, what are you doing? Like, this is not it. But think about a time where you were in that moment. My rule of thumb that I have is, if somebody comes to me with a situation, I don't give any advice unless they specifically ask me for it. You have to really say, hey, what's your thoughts on this? Or, I did this, do you feel like I made the right decision? Or, how would you have handled it? That's when I give my opinion, and that's when I keep it real. But if they're just coming to me because they just want to let off some steam, I ain't saying nothing. And I feel like more people should have that approach. Yeah, we do need to hold our friends accountable, but you have to know the moment. You have to do it in the right moment, and you have to do it strategically to where they're not turned off by you. Because when you do that too much and you're too aggressive with your advice, all you do is push that person away and make them feel like they can't come to you. And that's always my number one issue as to why I didn't want to share certain things with my friends, because I know I'm hard-headed. I know I'm not taking nobody advice with my own. Now, I keep it in the back of my head, but I'm gonna do what I want to do at the end of the day. Like, I still want to hear the advice, but I just feel like it's a way to do it. And then don't be rude with it. Be kind. Like, if somebody's telling you about their boyfriend that they're stuck on, and I'm telling you about an argument that we had, I feel like as a friend, you should just be there to listen. Not to tell me, well, girl, you already know that he don't appreciate you and he doesn't deserve you, so you need to leave him. That's not what I'm coming to you for. I ain't ready to leave him yet. I just want to let this out. And I think the issue with that is we love our friends. And it's so easy to see the red flags and the holes in stories when you're not involved. But when you are involved with somebody and there's feelings there, you don't want to hear what nobody else got to say, because in your mind, you don't know them like I do. So yeah, you're going to tell me that I should cut him off, but I might not see it that way. You don't know how it is when we're together. You don't know what is holding me on to that situation. And I feel like that's something to keep in mind when you're giving advice. You still want to let them know, but you need a kinder approach. I feel like it does more harm than good when you show somebody tough love, because then they just in their mind are like, okay, well, I'm just gonna stop telling her stuff. And then that creates the atmosphere of, I can't tell anybody how I feel because they're just gonna think that I'm stupid, or they're not gonna understand where I'm coming from. I feel like we should all be mindful when we're giving advice to our friends. You know, if they didn't ask, you don't always have to tell them. I mean, everybody might not agree. They might feel like, hey, you know, if you're my friend, I'm gonna tell you regardless. If you're mad, then you're mad, and that's cool. But it does create a hostile environment, and it does make that person feel like they can't come to you, and you don't want that. You want to always be understanding, even if you don't agree. Even if you are seeing everything mapped out, like, oh no, this is not for her. Until she sees it, she's not gonna leave. Until she sees it in the way that you're seeing it, they're not gonna leave that situation. They're not. You're better off just giving the support, whatever is needed. If you give some advice and they're like pushing back and they're resistant and not wanting to hear it, let it go. You can speak your piece and then just, you know, let it be that. Whatever they want to do with that information, they can do with it. But don't harp on it, and don't, you know, like lecture them, because it's belittling and it just makes them feel, you know, even more stupid. We already know, you know, we're making mistakes, but we're supposed to have that community of people that we could go to when we're feeling like that. And if you're being judgmental, which it comes off that way, you're just going to push them away and they're not going to come to you at all. So I feel like that's something that we should be mindful of when we're giving advice, to be very careful with the things that we say. Be respectful of somebody else's opinions. You know, don't just blurt out whatever you want because you don't have no ties or feelings to them, thinking that that other person is going to be cool with that advice or information. They're not going to be. So it's just something to be mindful of. Ask before, the next time somebody comes to you with the situation, ask them, you know, hey, are you doing this because you just want to vent, or do you actually want my advice? Are you ready to move forward, or are you just at a point where you're blowing off steam? Because it's a difference, and we've all been there. Some people are not ready to actually make a move in that moment when they're coming to you, and that's fine. I don't feel like you should have the attitude of, well, don't talk to me if you ain't gonna take my advice, or you keep coming to me about the same problem and you ain't did nothing about it. I don't know, I just feel like, I mean, it's situational, it depends. Y'all know I always got examples. So one of my ex-boyfriends, I went through the ringer with. Like, we were always off and on. There was always a situation, a scandal, a drama. But I really thought I was in love, and I wasn't ready to move on. So I would reach out. I would talk to my mom. I would talk to my friends about, you know, the things that would happen. But I knew that, I'm not even going to say I knew I wasn't ready to leave, because there was times where I really thought that I was. So I would give, you know, the details of exactly what happened and talk to my friends and be like, you know, I ain't dealing with him no more. This is it. I'm tired of it. And then all he got to do is apologize, and I'm right back the next week. Then I got to go back to them like, yeah, we got back together. We got back together. And you're embarrassed from doing that. So I knew that when I told them that I was dealing with the person again, that they would be disappointed in me and reminded me of the reasons why I left, and, you know, just telling me the truth, telling me the real. But at the time, I wasn't prepared to hear it. So instead of it like registering as, okay, I got to get it together, it registered as, okay, well, I'm gonna just stop telling them when I have problems then. So that way, in their minds, they'll think we're good, and then I'll just deal with issues on my own. And see, that's the environment it creates. So yeah, that's why I say I have two opinions on it, because yeah, you do want to give your friends and your family, you know, sound advice. You don't want to see them, you know, making bad decisions and, you know, engaging in toxic behavior. But if they're not ready to hear it, it's going to do more harm than good. Like right now, I feel like I'm in a place to receive that kind of criticism, especially because I know what I have going on. Like, I know what goal I'm trying to reach. So I do want people at this point to hold me accountable, but I wasn't in that same place years ago. So I received the information different, and it supported that narrative of, okay, you just got to deal with it by yourself. And that's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying that, you know, you just let the people that you love just do whatever and not, you know, step in or intervene. I'm just saying that to be mindful of how you're doing it, and just make sure you're showing support first and foremost. That's what's most important. Even if they're not getting it and they're not understanding it from your point of view, like, let them know it's okay. You know what? Yeah, this is not the best decision for you, but I know that you got to see it on your own. And I know that you will come to that point where you do see it. And I'll be here until you get there. That goes a long way. And it makes people feel like they're not alone. And it makes people feel like they're not stupid. Because we all been stupid before. Just something to think about. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. I thank y'all for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like, share this video, and comment with any of your thoughts. Bye.